Hi everyone, my name is Max from Natural Bodybuilding and Nutrition Q&A, and today we have a free talk. I want to talk about something that for some guys is kind of uncomfortable, and they need maybe some tips, some ideas. So I want to address the topic of grooming, of manscaping, of trimming. And this happens mostly because when you get into bodybuilding and fitness and all that stuff, you start building muscle, you start looking better and more aesthetic, and develop that body you've been wanting to show when you go to the beach, or when you want to take your shirt off, in summer, or maybe to compete. And well, there's a hairy problem all around here, right? So I just wanted to give you a few tips on how to groom yourself and get rid of all that unnecessary hair. So not all of us can rock an amazing mustache and chest hair just like Tom Selleck, and we need to do a little bit of shaving and shaping ourselves. First of all, why do we shave our body hair? Mostly because when you have muscles, they look better. When you have a nice physique, it looks much better when there's no hair on it. And you can see much better muscle definition, striations, and all the fibers. It looks just more pleasing, right? So a lot of guys find this kind of hard because sometimes they just don't know where to begin, or they think it's not that manly. I can tell you one thing, I've been doing this for a while, and it takes some time to get used to, but in the end, it looks much better, trust me. So there's basically 4 methods of getting rid of your body hair. Number 1 is shaving. Number 2 is trimming. Number 3 is waxing. And number 4 is having laser or pulse-light hair removal. So I'm gonna leave waxing for maybe another video, because it's painful, it's complicated, and you have to go to a place to do this, and you probably want to do this alone by yourself without telling anybody, at least the first times that you do it, right? And I'm also going to leave out laser and pulse-light hair removal for another video, because it's much more expensive. Though it's much more effective and it's gonna last longer, it's not cheap and it's kind of more complicated. So shaving and trimming. Well, to me personally, I would rather always go with trimming. Trimming is the safest option. You can go trimming slowly, you can go progressive, and if you just want to go and see what the full shave appearance would look like, you can just pop the attachment and go clean on it and give it a shot and see how things go. And you wouldn't have any problems with ingrown hairs and rashes and redness and itchiness and all that stuff. So the safest option is always to go with clippers and trim yourself. But you have to also consider that shaving is also an option. So depending on your body parts, some are more prone to be shaved because they don't get rashes that easily, or the type of skin that you have to work with is quite special. Sometimes clippers work better with them, and sometimes razors work best. So let's start from head to toe. Well, actually, let's start from shoulder to toe, because the hair from your head is for your hairdresser, stylist, or barber. So let's begin with shoulders. I used to have pretty hairy shoulders, and I ended up having laser hair removal. So I can't give you much advice on this, but there's one thing I can tell you. I haven't done this for a long time, and hair grows back. You have to do maintenance and all that stuff. So I've been shaving my shoulders for the last like 3 years, and it's working perfectly. The same thing I do with the rest of my arm until the elbow, and I've had no problem so far. The one rule I have with shaving with a razor is go with the grain. Never go against the grain. Why? Simple. Because you have ingrown hairs. And the ingrown hairs will make a zit or a pimple, and it's gonna be painful, it's gonna be noticeable, you're gonna have a red spot on your arm, on your shoulder, or on any part of your skin, and it just looks awful. So if you're gonna shave, just go with the grain, and there are some body parts that I wouldn't recommend to, but let's move forward with the video and I will tell you which ones you shouldn't. So shoulders are fine, you can just shave them, or you can use clippers and remove the thick hair from it. It's gonna look just fine. And if you move forward, let's say chest and your belly, well, in this case, I strongly recommend trimming first, especially if it's the first time that you remove your hair from your body. It's new, it's something different, and maybe you just prefer to have shorter hair instead of no hair. So get your clippers, add the attachment, and just start playing with it, and see if you can find a length that is gonna suit you. You feel it's best for you. And if you have really good muscles and you really want to show them, and it is still masculine to go full shave, and for your chest and your belly, I will recommend to use the clippers. Pop the attachment and use the clippers. Why? The same thing that happens with shaving. When your hair grows, especially on your chest and your belly, it grows in very, very different directions. There are hairs that grow into this direction, and hairs that grow into this direction, and the nipples have hairs growing this and this and this and that direction, and your belly has many directions too. So when you shave and you just go from here to here, you maybe most of the hairs go in this direction, but many of them may not, and they will just get caught against the grain, and you may probably have ingrown hairs after that, and pimples, and it's gonna be just painful and itchy, and it's not gonna look good. Also, you have to take into consideration that there are some skin spots on your chest and your belly that are very, very sensitive to a razor. One of these is the collarbone. This area is very, very sensitive, so using clippers may reduce the probability of having a rash, redness all over here. And you will not ever have ingrown hairs from using clippers. The next area that I would never recommend to shave is the belt area. Where you usually wear your belt, or the tightest part of your pants, attached to. I would never shave that part, and here's a couple of reasons why. First of all, first day, first 2 days, 3 days, it's gonna feel great. It's gonna be soft, and you're gonna feel good, and it's gonna look nice. But after a while, and since it's a part where there's always a piece of cloth on it, your hairs are gonna start growing, and since they're touching cloth all the time, and your pores are more open, they're gonna start getting filled with bacteria and dust and other kinds of stuff, and it will get infected a lot, and you're gonna have ingrown hairs, and you're gonna have zits, and it's gonna be itchy, it's gonna be painful. Never ever shave the belt area. Just go with the clippers. If you're gonna shave your entire chest and your belly, go for it, but never ever shave the belt area. Just go with the clippers and go for it, and that's it, and no big deal. You may have to use the clippers a few more times than just shaving. You can just shave once a week, twice a week, and you're gonna have to use the clippers maybe 3 times a week, but you're gonna avoid a lot of problems by doing that. So next is your back. your back is quite special. The thing about your back is that the skin on your back is quite thick. It's hard to break. So you may think, well, great, I can shave and I will not get caught and it'll be easier and I will not get rashes. Yeah, you won't get a rash. You won't feel it painful. It's complicated in terms that it's, first of all, you have to get someone to shave your back. There's no other way. There's a few products over there on the internet you can buy on Amazon or eBay or whatever that look like back scratchers, and they're basically for shaving. But essentially, the best thing you can possibly do is to get someone to do it for you. The problem is that if you have ingrown hairs, you'll develop zits and red spots. And the problem is that since the skin on your back is much thicker, the pimples and the zits you're gonna get are gonna last longer, and they're gonna take longer to heal because the layer of skin is much thicker, and it's harder for either products or antibiotics, or even something as simple as rubbing alcohol to get into a pore and clean it up and make it healthy again. So the pimples on your back are gonna stay longer. And this is why I don't usually recommend shaving your back. Again, use your clippers, pop the attachment, and just go with it, and it's gonna solve your issue. And if you do it against the grain, nobody will see that you have body hair on your back. Trust me, it's easy. The only thing the only downside of all this is that you have to get someone to do it for you, whether it's your wife, your girlfriend, your brother, your mom, your dad, your uncle. It's it's uncomfortable, but you ask it once, you ask it twice, and the third time you ask for it, it's an everyday thing. It's just like saying, could you scratch my back because I can't reach it, and they will do it for you. So the next thing are your forearms. That I mentioned that I shaved until the elbow, and the forearms I didn't mention anything, and this is because the forearms are a different part. Forearms are a part that it's not as usual that people shave or remove hair at all, but it's a good trimming option. If you don't really like having a long hair and having that bush on your arms, I would strongly suggest to just use clippers with a trimming attachment and just remove layers of hair and see if you're happy with it and if your arm looks much better. And if you feel like you can go even further, go with clippers, pop the attachment, and go for a full shaven look. You can shave it with a razor, but the problem is the same that happened with your chest or your back. You can have ingrown hairs, and in this area, since it's something that people are going to see all the time, it's complicated, it doesn't look that good. Clippers are the safe options because your skin is always going to look great, and you're going to have the shaved look that you're looking for without actually shaving. Now, of course, if someone's going to be touching you, or you're going to do some sort of photo shoot or something like that, and it's going to be really close to the eye, or people are going to touch you in any way, well, yeah, you have to shave. There's no easier way. There's a trick that I learned with the years, and it is basically using an electric razor. Yeah, the razor that you use to shave with batteries or the cord and touch the wall. And yes, that's a great option because it will pull a little bit of your hair and just cut it, and it's gonna give you a much cleaner look, and to the touch it's gonna feel like you actually shaved. So if you want to do that and do it with your chest and your belly and your back and your arms, it's great. Then again, the only area where you can't do this is the belt line. Don't. Just use clippers and that's it. So the next thing will be your hands. You can shave your hands, but honestly, it will really look super weird. Then again, I guess that the trimming option is the best, or maybe just using clippers without the attachment, and it's gonna look much more natural than just shaving it. And again, shaving it will just make it look weird unless you're a guy that doesn't have any sort of body hair or doesn't grow a beard or anything like that. I would strongly suggest to just use the clippers. I'm gonna skip, the funny area. I'm gonna leave it for the end of the video. So let's go for the legs. The legs, clippers. Gentlemen, it's easy. Just go with the clippers and shave it off. It's easy, it's quick, there's not such a big deal on it. And if you want to go with a razor, go for it. I mean, girls do it, and it's not such a big deal. But for guys, since we have much more hair, it's gonna be complicated to cover everything with a razor unless you do it, every 2 days. So I would strongly suggest to just use the clippers, and maybe if you enjoy having hair in your legs because it makes you feel more manly or something like that, go with it. Just trim it and use some sort of attachment and leave it, short, but shorter than what you already have. Same thing happens to your toes. You just use the clippers and remove the hair off. Yes, having hair in your toes is weird. It looks awful, so if you can just remove that hair from there, it's always gonna look much better. So now we can move to the funny area of your penis, your ballsack, and your butt. So let's start with your penis. I would say that the best thing that you can do for the shaft area would be to just pull the skin and shave. Now, there's one thing that you have to do when you shave, especially that area. Don't use shaving foam or any sort of soap. Get your hair conditioner and put a little bit of hair conditioner in there. Let it sit for a minute and get into the shower, pull the skin and shave slowly and easy. You don't want to cut yourself, just gently. And the same thing happens to the ballsack. Yes, the ballsack, don't you ever try to trim it or use clippers on it, because the clippers will just pinch your skin and it's gonna itch, it's gonna stain, it's gonna hurt. And when you try to apply, let's say, a rubbing alcohol on it, it's gonna stain even more. So stay away from clippers for your dick and your ballsack. Just go with a razor and use a little bit of hair conditioner and just go with gentle strokes. Just pull the skin and gentle strokes. And trust me, it's gonna look much better. It's not gonna be itchy, it's not gonna be uncomfortable. The best thing that you can do is that now, you're gonna be super scared, yes. The first times that you do it, you're very scared. Why? It's simple, because you have a very sharp tool very next to your thing and you want to protect things, but trust me, it's gonna work a lot better. Now, the rest of the bush. Some men find it really uncomfortable to get rid of that kind of hair because they think they lose some sort of masculinity, or they look less manly or anything. So if you're that kind of guy, I would strongly suggest to just trim it. You can go with a clippers, pop in the attachment and just trim it, and like you would like mowing the lawn. It's like making it shorter and look more cleaner and aesthetic and all that stuff. And if you want to go and look like a baby, then just pop the attachment of your clippers and just go with it, and be careful. Don't touch your ballsack, don't touch your shaft, but you should be more than fine. Now, I would never recommend to use a razor to finish it off. just because the same thing happens with ingrown hairs. And there's one particular difference with that particular hair, with that pubic hair, which is it is much harder and bigger, and the follicle is much bigger. So if you have an ingrown hair, it's gonna be more painful, it's gonna leave a bigger pimple or zit, and it's gonna look much worse. So if I were you, I would just use the clippers. Now, if you have a special date with a spicy señorita, just like Aaron Marino would say in his channel of Alpha, well, yeah, you can go with a shave. Of course, always remember, just try to go with the grain, not against the grain. And you should be fine. It's just for one night, it's just for one time, or a special occasion, okay, go for it. But for every day, I would not recommend using a razor in that area. And the biggest benefit is that you're gonna look down there, it's gonna say, whoa, you look much bigger. So that's a big plus for the ladies. And trust me, it does work. And last but not least, your butt. So I sadly have to admit that I am a very hairy dude, and in that area I'm hairy too. So what I've tried many things, and the best thing that I have done is again using the clippers. And why? It's just because it's the safest one. Then again, it's an area that is very prone to having ingrown hairs and pimples, so you want to make it look as nice as you possibly can. So just pull the skin as gently as you can, and just, you know, move your clippers slowly, and, you know, go for the cheeks, go for the crack, and slowly work your way up and down. Now, when you approach the special area, you know, try to be super careful, because pinching that part may cause you trouble. It's gonna be painful, since it's a place where there might be quite some bacteria. I would strongly suggest to take a bath before you do it, and your skin will be much cleaner and smoother and easier to, you know, to the process of removing hair. You can also use talcum powder or any sort of powder that is gonna, you know, make your skin smoother and make your clippers move more smoothly. Also remember to maintain your clippers, you know, oil them once in a while, keep them clean. And then again, when you have to approach that area, you can possibly use a small mirror on the floor and just squat on it, and, you know, work your way and see where you're going. And when you're really close to that special spot, just pull the skin and, you know, go from in to outside, from inside to outside, and, you know, follow the line of the skin. And you shouldn't have much problems. But don't you ever just go and boom, put the clippers up there, because yeah, you can have an apocalypse over there. So you may make a real big mess. But just go slowly, take small strokes, be gentle, and be as clean as you possibly can. So of course, for this video, I'm not gonna make a demonstration. I just wanted to talk about this, you know, because there are people that are uncomfortable with this. They feel less masculine or something like that, and it couldn't be farther from the truth. There's something that removing your body hair will do when you have a muscular body. It's gonna enhance it. You're gonna look much better, much manly, and if you want to look manly without body hair, you can just leave your beard and it'll work. I mean, it's something that people tend to confuse in bodybuilders and people that are in the fitness industry, that just because you have muscles and you look aesthetic and you're shredded and you don't have any body hair, you may be playing for another team, you know, but it's not true. You know, homosexual people are just homosexual. I mean, they like their own gender, and that's it. That's the truth. The only thing that makes you homosexual is liking your own gender. Muscles, or grooming, or manscaping, or dyeing your hair, or trimming your beard, or shaving, that doesn't play any part in that. So guys, that's all I have for today. I hope you liked the video. If you liked it, please hit that like button, subscribe for notifications of new videos. Just touch the bell down there, and of course you can always see when I'm posting videos from my Instagram or this channel Instagram account, which is in the description below. And if you have any comments or questions, also leave it in the comment section, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.